Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West here, and welcome to the Steadfast and Loyal podcast.
You gotta light 'em up before they burn it down. Better dig deep, put 'em in the ground. Blood on their hands, they're hellbound. Sing a song. Ooh, they're gonna burn it down. Sing a song before they burn it down.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, and throughout my life, from military to public service, the right to bear arms responsibly has been a fundamental belief. That's why I stand with United Patriot Supply. They're redefining what it means to be a firearms dealer by combining the experience and know-how of a traditional gun shop together with the selection and pricing power of a modern e-commerce company. Stop by our flagship store in Seneca, Kansas, or visit us online at UnitedPatriotSupply.com. Hey, greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the Steadfast and Loyal podcast. As I have said, we are continuing to talk to many candidates out there running in the Republican primary for Texas State House and Texas State Senate. And we're joined today by another one of the candidates, Jaye Curtis. Jaye Curtis is a retired correctional officer with a diverse career background, having served in the United States Navy submarine service, a submariner. That's pretty impressive. He took an extraordinary career pivot into the entertainment industry, where he was a disc jockey for 25 years. However, his love and dedication for his home state of Texas has caused him to get involved in the political field. Jaye is seeking to serve as the state representative for Texas State House District Number 8. And he joins us now. Hello, how you doing, Jaye?
Hello, Colonel. Good to talk to you.
Absolutely. So if you could kind of let folks know, we filmed this up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Where exactly is Texas State House District Number 8?
It is composed of Navarro County, part of Henderson.
Okay,
Anderson County,
Navarro County is Corsicana. So
right,
kind of, going south and east, coming down like you're heading down toward Houston.
right, and then you go over to Anderson County and Henderson County, and then Cherokee County.
Okay. What are the major cities that are located in Texas State House District 8?
Okay, major cities would be Corsicana, Athens, Palestine, Rusk, and Jacksonville.
Got it. Very well. So, you talk about your background. I mean, you were in the entertainment industry. First and foremost, thank you for your service as a submariner. That's pretty impressive. How long did you serve in the United States Navy?
For 3 years.
Okay.
And I had a great time doing it. I had the best job in the Navy. I was a cook.
You guys in the Navy do eat good. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Now, were you on a boomer or a fast attack?
I was on a fast attack. As a matter of fact, I was going to tell you, you being an Air Force man,
Uh,
the
uh,
controls.
Army.
Oh, I am so sorry.
You hurt my feelings, man. I mean, oh boy, you got to
Oh
go
dear.
back to zero now. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, I have a lot of affinity for the Army. My grandfather was in the 69th Infantry Division, 272nd Regiment.
Uh-huh.
They were the group that met the Russians at Torgau,
Okay.
cutting Germany in half.
Wow.
So I have a lot of Army in my family.
Super, super. Well, talk to us about this entertainment industry. A disc jockey for 25 years. Was this at a radio station or where?
No, actually, I was a wedding DJ and
Okay.
entertainment DJ, and I did some really great gigs. But I did that and made a fairly good living at it until 2008.
Yeah.
And I had a rough few years after that. Obama ended all that.
So, what is it that encouraged you to run for Texas State House District 8? Give us a little bit of background about what's happening on the ground. What have you seen? What are your experiences?
Okay. Well, what happened? First of all, I need to go back. I was with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice until 2018,
Okay.
but in 2015, I was diagnosed with uh, chronic myeloid leukemia, and I had to retire whether I liked it or not.
Yeah.
But what has happened is my opponent, Cody Harris, has over the last, I guess, couple of years has gone steadily. I guess the best way I can say it, to a Republican in name only, or Rhino. But the last straw for me is when he voted to impeach the Attorney General. They had no witnesses. They had no sworn testimony. It was a kangaroo court, and I think the whole thing was honestly brought about because of Paxton calling the Speaker of the House out for being drunk on the floor of the House. I think that's what caused it. I think it's a vendetta.
So,
But
when you look at that, are there some other votes that Mr. Harris has taken that causes you concern as a constituent down in that House district?
oh yes, most definitely. As a matter of fact, he voted to give the Speaker of the House the power to appoint Democrat chairs on committees, and to me, that's just crazy. I mean, we're not getting things passed, and to put them in charge of those committees where they can squash legislation before it even goes to the floor. It's just insane. You can't call yourself a Republican and do that.
Let's talk
That's my
about as you travel around in State House District number 8, what are the three priorities that you're hearing from the folks that you're meeting with?
um, one that they just don't feel like they're represented correctly, or if at all. I mean, just to give you an example, the people in my district are, for the most part, very, very opposed to the COVID shots and to COVID mandates, any of that business. They are upset because he helped give the governor emergency powers, which he has not relinquished yet. They're upset because he's taken money from big pharma like Pfizer and Eli Lilly. He's taking money from sources that are just not cool. I mean, he's been taking money from casino, two Indian tribes in Oklahoma, and this is the kind of thing that my constituents do not like, and they're upset about it. But again, universally, it's what he did to Paxton is what got people just absolutely riled up.
Okay.
That was what really made the difference.
What are some of the other concerns or priorities that you see legislatively that you would like to tackle as the representative for District 8?
Well, one big thing is education. Our education system is just in a shambles, and I want to help restore that. The first thing I'd like to do is make sure our teachers get raises. Right now, they're 28th in the nation, below the national average, and they need to be brought up to standard on that. Um, I also would like to see more vocational education brought about in schools. When I was in school, we had auto shop, wood shop, every kind of vocational training you can think of. And for the most part, they're really not doing a lot of that anymore. And, there are kids out there that really don't want to go to college and they'd like to have another option, and going into
Hmm.
the trades would be a good one, in my opinion, anyway.
How about the border? I mean, without a doubt, everything that's
Oh,
happening in Texas is really centered around the border. And we know that the President of the United States of America is threatening to federalize the Texas National Guard. What are your concerns with the border and what are some of your solutions?
well, the first solution is until the federal government and the state quit fighting over what they can do at the border. It's not going to do a lot of good to throw money that direction. I mean, we got some great guys in Operation Lone Star. Don't get me wrong, and this is not about them. I'm criticizing, but there's this back and forth going on with Washington. In the meantime, there are things we can do, and the biggest one to me is we need to pass legislation to make it uh, very difficult on illegals to live here. They shouldn't be able to rent apartments. They shouldn't be able to buy a house. They shouldn't be able to get a loan. They shouldn't even be able to put their kids in school. Nothing but emergency medical care, and that's it. we should not make it easier for them to live here. And I think if we do that, that's going to really help a lot, because they'll either move on, either go back south or go up north, but they won't be here.
Well, do you believe that we should be turning people around first and foremost at the border, especially when we look at the amount of single military age males that are coming
Oh,
across the border?
absolutely. But we're not going to be able to do it with National Guard and a few DPS officers. We need
Yeah.
to actually put the military on the border, because this is an invasion. And I may be wrong on this, but my understanding is if we declare an invasion, posse comitatus should not apply to this. And we've got to get military down there and do something.
Well, would you
But I
have,
don't think
yeah, would you have supported a border protection unit being passed by the Texas State House and Senate and the legislature in this last session?
I believe I would. Yes, anything we can do to make it better on the border, I'm all in favor of. I'm just saying, we have to do other things as well. That's all. Um, I have no problem with the fact that they're the governor and the legislature is trying to do something now. We just need to do more, and we got to do something fast.
What are some of the local issues that are distinct to House District 8 that you see there in the respective cities, Corsicana, Athens, Palestine? I always want
Thank
to
you.
say the other word, because that's
I
in the news
understand.
all the time. But what are some of the local things? Drug trafficking is an issue. Is human and sex trafficking an issue through that House district?
Yes, actually, we do have drug trafficking. Just to give you an example, Interstate 45 runs through part of my district. We also have Highway 79, Highway 84. Palestine is a hub for major highways, and of course, going down that corridor, we have drugs coming up from Mexico. It's a real problem. And then we have a lot of the prisoners here, because we have 5 prison units in Palestine. They have families that come up here and they move up here, and they get out of prison and they're right here. And then, then we have other problems because of that, because they're living here and they're doing drugs. Um, we're getting a lot of the bad elements, some of the worst out of Houston and Dallas up here, and our law enforcement is just stretched to the max here. Our sheriff's department is just, having a rough time, and that's because of that drug trafficking. It's all related, one way or the other.
So when you look at what would be some of the things that you would like to try to do yourself, some of the legislation you would like to try to, initiate and sponsor, give us an idea of maybe one or two things. You're successful in this
Okay.
election, you get elected, you're down there legislative session next January. What would Jay Curtis seek to do? Where would you seek to be impactful?
Well, the first one is what I suggested, of course, about what to do, with illegal aliens in the state. Another thing I would like to do is amend I believe it's Article 5, Section 15 of the Texas State Constitution. We need to bring our impeachment process in line with the federal Constitution. Right now, we saw Ken Paxton was thrown out of office for however many weeks that was until he was found not guilty. That shouldn't be that way. It needs to be the same way as it is in our U.S. Constitution, where you have to be found guilty in the Senate and then you're removed from office. And because as we saw that it got used for political purposes, and
Yeah.
that needs to be stopped. And I think amending our Constitution can definitely fix that. Um, Another thing is I want to block any type of digital currency, from being required in the United States. I believe that's already been done, but that needs to be a sure thing, and I'll take whatever steps I can to do that. I'm also hearing complaints from our farmers and ranchers. We're seeing that Korea and China and various entities are buying up farmland and ranch land, and they should not be able to do that. So I would definitely sponsor a bill to stop any foreign ownership of any land, and I don't mean just the major powers that are doing this. I mean, if you are not an American citizen, you should not be able to buy land in the United States until you have your citizenship. Um, I believe in that strongly. If you went to Mexico right now and tried to buy property there, you would not be allowed to unless you were a Mexican citizen.
Yeah.
It's just plain common sense, and that is something I've gotten a lot of support on, and I've heard from a lot of people about that. Our ranching and our farming industry is extremely important, and when they speak, I need to listen, and everyone needs to listen because we depend on that.
Well, it's very
So
interesting. It's very interesting you bring that up because that piece of legislation passed in the Texas State Senate about
right,
precluding foreign adversarial entities the ability to buy land in Texas, but it died in the Texas State House. So I think that's another reason why you see so many challengers to incumbent Republicans in this cycle in Texas State House. Jay, where can people follow you and find out more about your campaign and support you?
they can first of all follow me on my website, which is www dot the initial J, then Curtis, Curtis, the word FOR, capital H, capital D, and the numeral 8.com.
So
And
Jaye Curtis, FOR, HD8.com.
correct.
Awesome.
And they can also find me on Facebook. I'm really easy to find there. Jaye Curtis for the Texas House of Representatives, District 8. I'm also on Twitter, as a matter of fact. So I'm available on lots of social media. So it's not hard to find me.
What do you think is your biggest challenge in this race? Because this is a short cycle in Texas. I mean, the filing deadline is December the 11th, and then early voting starts, the following year, 20 February, and then the election day is the 5th of March. What do you think is your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge is getting the word out there. I'm running a grassroots campaign, Colonel, and by that I mean I have a little money from a few friends, but basically, my opponent has, I think, from what I looked at the paperwork, I think he has over $230,000 cash on hand, and tons and tons and tons of donors and PACs, and I do not. I'm running strictly grassroots. So as much as I'm trying, that money is an issue, of course.
Yeah.
And anyone that wants to donate, I'd be very grateful. But I'm not going to give up. I think I'm seeing results because I'll tell you, there's just a lot of chatter out there, and my name is getting out there. But it's always good to get it out there more.
Yeah.
Because my opponent is going to blanket mail and everything else, I'm sure, before this is done. He's got the money to do so.
Yeah, and I'm sure
But I
he's
believe
getting.
I can still win.
I'm sure he's getting the yard signs out. Okay, last question, and this is directed to not just the people there in HD8, but the folks all across Texas and the folks that are across the country that watch this podcast. Why is Texas State House District 8 important to not just your constituents there, but to the greater state of Texas and to the United States?
I just think that we're representative of the state, of a large part of the state, except for the cities. And the people here, if you look at what the people here think and do, you're getting a good picture of how probably the rest of Texas in the rural areas feel about things.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us at the Steadfast and Loyal podcast. Jaye Curtis, Jaye Curtis, FORHD8.com. Tell our dear friend Mandy Kirkland that I said hello, and I appreciate her getting you the opportunity to be here with us. And you have my support in this endeavor, and Mandy will let me know if there's anything I could do to try to help you out, because we do need to have the everyday common Texan, the everyday common American to step up and run for elected office, and especially those people who have worn the uniform of the United States of America to continue their oath of service to God, to country, and to our Republic of Texas here as well. So thank you very much, Jay, for being with us. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have enjoyed this episode of the Steadfast and Loyal podcast, please click the like button and share it with others. And go out there and check out Jaye Curtis and his website. And until next time, steadfast and loyal.
Before they burn it